Hello and welcome to the Hat Chat podcast with your hosts, Chris, Trott,
Hornby.
Oh, God, I'm not doing that.
Why not?
It sounds, I mean,
Say it again.
I'm close enough to a panic attack regularly. It sounds like I've just jumped in that cool pool in that
yeah, you
place
can't.
we went to, that spa.
Trying to find words.
Yeah, thank you. I'm Alex Smith. Thank you to Per F for that fingers.
I think
nice
Perf is probably fine.
Perf.
Yeah. No. They want everyone to stutter.
They've sent in 2 fingers recently.
Oh, thank you.
So probably next week's with our special guest.
Unless someone
will be that
upstages them.
Yeah, that's true. You can
'Cause
get
they
your
could send
finger
them
in. That's true. That's true. It's all up for grabs.
Oh, you
Send
can
them
grab
into
it.
our email, hatchat@hat-films.com, please. We want your music. Thank you.
Immortalised in our Hat Chat podcast.
Forever on the internet. You literally can't take it down. Someone will do a backup.
Potentially.
Google's got the backup.
I assume so. Someone will back it up somewhere.
Once it's on the internet, you can't scrub
I've
it.
got backups, I suppose.
Yeah.
But what if they get taken down? Just everything, suddenly Google falls, all the digital boundaries fall.
Big
solar flare.
Big solar flare.
Wipes out.
And we do a big reset. That's
All
what
the
worries
hard
me.
drives wiped across the globe.
That would be a disaster.
It would be a
Yeah, it really would. It'd be an economical nightmare.
disaster.
Everything's got down to zero.
I mean, let's not fantasize
It's the reset.
about it.
It's the
I mean, all the
great
medical
reset.
knowledge, all of the calibration software, everything
My NHS number.
required for like complicated machinery.
all the algorithms gone.
Yeah, that would
Everything.
suck.
Fingers
Financial
crossed.
data being lost maybe wouldn't suck so much.
Billionaires.
Yeah, well,
Nothing.
yeah. If everyone's set to zero, what do you do?
Well, you
Mayhem will
defend your
happen.
property.
Yeah.
Yeah. Basically, I think.
Suddenly, yeah.
We'd have no record of you owning this.
Yeah.
Come and take it. You know,
We
like
should buy bear traps
yeah.
just in case people try and get on our shit.
Well, buy them now while we can afford them.
Yeah. Well,
Right.
we can steal them, I suppose, or craft them somehow. I've never made a bear trap or
The thing
worked
is, if
with
you use
iron.
bear traps, you've trapped someone like in your hallway or somewhere. I'm guessing you've deployed this. Now you've got someone screaming in pain. Because,
Yeah, so no one else is going to come.
So
Or they'll see a dead body and they'll be like, "Well, I'm out of here."
But the body's.
So it's really going to work as an effigy. I hope it's not one
It's
of you.
like
it's gonna stink.
It's gonna stink.
As long as you're okay with the smell of decaying body in your hallway, then
It's like
You kind of
the,
have to be at this stage.
yeah.
Everything's been reset to zero.
I think you can adapt to it quite easily.
Well, the smell.
Yeah.
Nose plugs. We can get some smelling salts.
Yeah.
I've seen some podcasts where they get smelling salts and all test it, but they all just say it smells like piss. It's like horrible piss.
Yeah. It's just meant to shock you awake.
Yeah.
So it's gonna be like
Maybe we should do it for a video at
pungent.
some point.
I mean,
We'll
you
get some
smell
for a video.
poppers, right? Smell, not used. Smell poppers
But isn't that how you use them?
Brit sticks.
by smelling them.
Really isn't it
hard.
just a solvent kind of thing?
Yeah, it's a solvent. Like smelling salts are kind of the same sort of deal. It's just like
I
a.
thought it was like a thing you and then.
But I mean, like it has the same, like not the same high necessarily, because who
I don't
can
think it's supposed to make
who
you
can
high.
match poppers? Am I right? But like, no, I'm kidding. But I think it is just like that. It's like a
Right.
very strong, pungent smell that just shocks you awake. It's not like smelling salts aren't like some sort of magical consciousness.
I thought it just
medicine.
makes you alerts you because it smells so pungent.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you could do that with dog shit probably.
Yeah.
It's just obviously smelling salts are preferable.
Yeah. Dog shit is bad.
Anyway, not to steer the conversation around.
We
dog
keep
shit.
going.
Always
We
seems to go
always
back
go
to
to
dog
dog
shit.
I'm just saying.
We
like,
had a
that's-
podcast last week. A lot of dog shit. in
We're
that
talking about visceral smells, and they
one.
Yeah.
It always comes up.
So we need to buy a load of bear traps and then air fresheners.
Bear traps,
think
air
it's-
freshers for us. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not going to be able to back this up with any sort of form of insight, just so you guys know. But I
Okay.
mean, it's interesting, isn't it?
Good.
How
Thank you.
how if you take money away,
Yeah.
suddenly we're all just like, oh shit, there is no law. We would have to fight to defend the things we own because there's no way to track. But then you realize, wow, like
You could do that now.
Yeah, you could do that now, and equally, like, and the only thing keeping that in place is the idea that we all believe in a financial system as a way of maintaining order.
Oh yes, yeah.
Well,
It's very much the system
essentially-
we've all agreed on.
Yeah.
And we're all, well,
But it's,
mostly all of
and
us.
it's completely not a fair system or a democratic system at all.
Hmm.
But isn't it interesting that that's the only thing keeping democracies almost together, is the idea that, like, you know how like meritocracy is not, again, I'm not informed enough to make this sort of
You asked for a rebellion.
but what I'm saying is it's just interesting how we all adhere to like the ideas of like meritocracy, as in like, you know, work hard, you'll be rewarded, the best people for the job will rise to the top, all that sort of stuff. Like, but we actually know that we don't live in that system at all.
I feel like we're in a nepotistic society instead.
But this is still the best case scenario, I
Yes,
think. That's the
we do,
thing. Like, to us, like, what's the alternative? Okay, so we fucked the whole system, and then all of a sudden we're having to fight for our lives to defend our homes because we decided to
So what's your
scrap
plan
the
B?
current system. I'm
That's
saying
what
that's
I'm
what
trying
I'm
to get to, right? Solar flare happens, boom.
what happens?
How are you set up?
You fucking hope that you're out in the middle of nowhere.
What's your plan?
If it happens,
Yeah. What
well,
are you going to do
my
if it
car
happens?
doesn't work anymore.
Your Tesla's fucked, mate. So why'd you buy a Tesla knowing that a solar flare's coming?
Because solenoids in cars go as well in combustion engines.
So they're all fucked.
Yeah, all cars would be fucked.
I've got an electric
Well, steam
bike.
trains, we can sort steam trains back out.
Boom. Steam train life.
Bring steam back is what I'll be.
Are they ready to go on the rails?
Yeah.
There's a steam where, I don't know, probably. There's probably some legacy ones. There's ones you can hire which you have like dinners on and stuff, which are fancy ones.
Yeah, I'd love to go on one of those things.
Yeah.
They
The
look
little
awesome.
like mini tours, yeah.
What are they called?
Yeah.
The
There's some on the Isle of
Express.
Wight.
yeah, what's it called? Express.
National, not the National Express.
Oh, God,
that's the
it's-
actual one.
Why have I forgot this? The Orient Express, is that right?
Something like that, yeah.
The Orient Express, and they have like the really, really amazing
You
cars.
can have like a dinner day on there.
The amount of stuff I get recommended on like YouTube and Instagram about like people taking flamboyant train journeys. I don't know why. I've never been on a train journey, like like a not one that I've enjoyed.
we could also get narrow boats,
Yeah.
or one large
Yeah.
narrow boat, and that's
Yeah.
we could hijack one. I know a place.
So why are you
Why do you
going
wanna
straight
hijack?
to vehicles?
well, it's just the ones that are moored up are all people are living in them.
So we're gonna have to turf some people out.
Either I'll join them.
Well, you're not
But
like...
we're hijacking this thing, tugging away at
I
2
don't-
miles an hour.
I actually think this would work. So,
Well, why are you going to vehicles? It's not like there's a
Where are you
zombie
going?
infestation
Yeah.
you're trying to escape from.
Vehicles-
Just a solar flare.
transport,
Well,
shelter,
not just, but, you know.
transport and shelter are very fucking useful in a situation
You've
like
got
this.
one already.
Canoes
What
work.
do you have? In what form?
In the places you live currently.
Yeah, but those places you can't. The ideal thing about having mobile shelter and mobile transport is if there is a threat in an area, you can move away from it. Because often the best answer to a threat is not to engage with it, is to move away from it. So if you're staying at home, staying in place, and a problem develops in that area, you're just essentially waiting to be assaulted. Whilst, like, if you had some form,
Bicycle.
especially something like a boat, which gives you quite a lot of isolation on the ocean or in rivers and things like that, really, really useful. I would argue that the answer to your question, but the reality
I don't know,
is,
it wouldn't be safe
and
now
I
that
think
you mentioned
that
it.
this is the best. What you just actually touched on is actually the best solution here. Is you desperately try to appeal to as many people around you to form a tribe. Like this
A
is
cult of sorts.
not a cult. Like
Well, it could be a cult, though, couldn't it?
it could be a cult.
Yeah,
You wanted
in
to.
a way.
Live out your dreams.
You could impose some form of ritualistic system.
But I guess
Why not?
the phones are down. You can't just WhatsApp
Yeah.
them. You're gonna have to put like a little note at the bottom of your building or
Yeah.
neighborhood wise,
yeah.
and be like, yeah, we're going to join or meet up at the scouts hut over here, and we'll all talk about this.
It's going to be Lord of the Flies, though. It's going to be a betrayal.
But there's a great article
Not
about
necessarily.
this.
I think people want peace.
I
It's
think we
just-
might have talked about it before. There was a great article about a guy that was hired to consult for a bunch of billionaires that were looking for advice on bunkers to build and how to survive an apocalypse, right? This was
Right.
something, I can't remember, just Google it, consultant talks to billionaires about the realities of security in bunkers and how
Okay.
ridiculous
What are the
it
flood
was.
risks with bunkers? I always thought there's
Seem
like
pretty
unless they-
high, right?
'cause drainage is normally it goes down, right?
Yeah, we'd have
But if your
pumps.
bunker's lower, you'd have
Yeah.
to get pumps.
Well, you don't necessarily need to build a bunker
I've seen that-
underground. You can build a bunker surrounded by mountains. Or
True.
something
I'm
like
thinking
that.
of Mark Zuck's bunk.
Yeah.
Sucks bunk.
You would
Zuck-
probably have a
Zuck's
two-tier
bunk.
Is that
system.
real? I don't know if that's
I don't know if it's real.
You'd have an above ground if you're a billionaire. I imagine you'd
Yeah.
want to go for an above ground solution and a below ground
Right.
solution. But yeah, you'd
Bit
have
of both.
You'd have probably have
What about
pumps.
an air solution?
So all that sort of stuff. But what I'm getting at here,
Personal
the
military.
most important thing out of all of this, and this is
Mercenaries.
why people
Go
shouldn't
on.
worry too much about this stuff and worry about the end of the world and all this sort of thing that you can't really plan for anyway.
This is all
But-
simulation.
But basically, he was laughing at them because they were like, right, well, when I have my mega bunker or my mega compound or whatever I'm living on when the world collapses, I'm going to have to somehow defend it from all the plebes that are going to want to get in and get all my good stuff. So I'm going to have to maintain a security force, right? And the biggest problem they had was how do you keep... When money is basically worthless, how do you keep a security force loyal, especially when they're the ones with the weapons who could just turn them on you and become the billionaires themselves?
True, yeah.
And they couldn't work out. And they were like, do we use shock collars? Do we use food as payment? Do we use... And basically
They're
this
gonna
guy...
use robots.
This guy... Yeah, well, maybe.
They're going to use robots.
Yeah.
We're
Thi-
talking about humans here.
You get a smart
This
person.
guy-
got
This guy said,
Hostile
like, you
dynamics on
have
the
to
phone.
create communities. The only way to survive in situations like this would be to create interdependent communities it's in their interest to defend you and that community.
Yeah.
Just like organized countries. It's just like sociology 101. Human beings, they form tribes to stay safe together. They realize that they can benefit more through interdependency than they can alone. They expand, and then different elements come into it, like cultural schisms and shit, and that's how you get changes and stuff. But, like,
Schisms.
The way I'd pick wouldn't be like a sports team, like my community.
you're right.
Like, 'cause obviously I get to pick.
You get to pick.
I get to pick.
And there's a gym of 11-year-olds.
No,
Yeah,
there's really not. No, don't picture that.
Yeah, you do. You're a billionaire. They're all perverts.
I'm not. No, I'm just picking a community from like people that's like, this would be good to isolate with these people. I don't think it should be based on just a conversation. I think it should be based on farts.
How loud or
Whoa,
smell?
why?
Smell.
How are we
Good
going
or
back to
bad?
farts again?
Well, that's the thing.
You want good smellers only.
You think people can lie to you, right?
Yeah.
People can change their body language. They can say stuff to like sweeten the deal, so to speak, but then they're liars and they betray you. I think a fart is pure. Essentially, with a fart, with enough training, I think you could figure out their diet. So first of all, you know if they're going to eat all your food stores,
Yeah.
or they've got an addiction, or you know there's some problems going on in their
Yeah.
bowels.
This is like oxygen not included.
Yeah.
Have you played that?
Yeah.
They have all these traits.
I do feel like we should rename the podcast to Fartcast.
Fart car.
Because last episode we spoke about farts a lot.
Did we?
And you've managed to get us back there again. But
I think it's an
I agree
important
that
trait.
it's a trait. I think, yeah. If you
Do they do
can-
that in submarines, do you think? Do you think there's a no
I think if
farting
you can,
policy?
if maybe you need to convince them
big
to do
farter.
something, like a fart in front of you to prove that they're like loyal. Maybe. Like,
Also, I
no judgment
Fart now.
you have to fart in front of me.
Fart
You can't do it in the next 10
on
minutes.
command.
You're out.
You can't hide a fart.
The thing
right?
is, though, like mine are really stinky sometimes, but I feel like I could be valuable to you in the future.
Fart there.
I
Of
don't know
the
if it's
people
I don't know
you
if it's the
know.
best judgment of character.
I think
Fart
I
smell.
need to learn farts right first.
You need to
I'll have to be a
you need
specialist.
You need like a
Bring out
sommelier.
the fart sniffer.
I might
A
train a dog.
sommelier.
Sommelier.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that person got, imagine that's their job. They've got on
Yeah.
board with that. I can smell farts real good. So, we need you on board.
Just in case of the solar flare, I've learned to smell farts really good.
That's a trait that we never even ever expected to train for. No colleges teach it.
But like, what else is there that could just let out the truth in a person so immediately, so viscerally,
Yeah.
than a fart? You learn so much about someone.
I don't think you do learn anything.
Yeah,
I
don't know.
know. I
Well,
think this is where I think this is where I'm losing
Let's
track
have
of
a
your
debate.
argument.
Yeah,
where it's like,
yeah.
I don't feel there's a huge amount of data in smelling somebody's fart.
You get a lot of particulate out of them.
You do. I mean,
I guess
obviously,
you could do blood tests. You can do a whole series of tests. I don't know if there's any time to infiltrate any of these.
personal
ideas.
health is certainly a consideration in forming your future bunker squad.
Pheromones.
Well, yeah.
but apparently, the jury's out on whether like human pheromones really have any effect on each other.
Compatibility.
What does that mean?
I don't know. Well, apparently, if you
IQ?
like the Musk.
What about
of-
you? Yeah, I mean, it's skills because IQ doesn't really matter.
no,
either.
yeah. But
like
if you
it's
can,
just skills.
if you can build good,
Yeah. Like, well, I mean, you need a bit of everything, right?
Yeah.
You obviously would love a surgeon because obviously,
Yeah.
who wouldn't want
that
a surgeon?
surgeon's going to be
but
run
in
ragged.
this very short time period,
Yeah.
you can't be running these auditions.
Yeah.
I'm just saying this is not happening.
Why not?
In a short space of time.
Well, farts
So what
are
you got,
quick.
like
It's just
half a day?
happened.
A half day, probably.
Well, before chaos really
from
happens.
knowing from global knowledge of it to shit going down, you've probably got half a day of being able to move without the shit.
Because do you imagine the police force would probably work for a period of time, knowing that obviously everything's now worthless, and they could just go back to their homes and families to try and save them. But do you think there would still be just an equilibrium that would just stick for a period of time,
I don't know.
or do you think that chaos would happen? Because
I don't think chaos would happen overnight.
Yeah.
Because if it
Which
builds,
is like, can we not just press a button and get our money back? It's like, we'll figure something out. It's like, we don't know.
I reckon.
equally as soon as
And who you
problems
asking?
start
Because you can't even
happening,
phone anyone.
You use the
Phones
army.
are fucked. Internet's gone.
You'd use the army straight away. Governments need to use armies in those
Yeah, but
situations.
then the army, like you say, with that security force
Yeah.
dilemma.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
they've been brain washed to kind of love the country and the flag. haven't
I don't think that's not true. You gotta
Clockwork
make sure,
Orange.
You gotta make sure people know you're being satirical, because
the guys going to Vietnam were fucking brainwashed.
Yeah, well, they were also like
to completely
well,
dehumanize the other side is what that was their challenge.
And also
they should make
young
sure that they
and
didn't give a fuck.
right?
Yeah.
You can feel
No
but
burning down
arguably,
villages.
the Vietnam was like the last war of that kind. Like,
Sure.
it's hard.
But I still just think there's got to be a level of kind of like acceptance that you're just running. You're fodder for the most part as well. Getting thrown into these pointless wars.
This is a
I don't
different
think
thing,
you're
though.
told
This is
that,
about
though.
something.
Yeah, I know,
what I'm
but, like,
saying
as in,
about,
like-
in terms of civic control, it's
Yeah.
all about the perception of control and the perception of organisation. As long as somebody thinks that somebody above them knows what the fuck is going on, generally speaking, people will be okay.
Yeah.
So in that
need a
situation
good
where money is
decision maker.
nothing, and you need just to project confidence and strength. So you need a leader who'd be like, right, we're going to use the army to make sure that nobody fucks about. We're going to sort this out.
Yeah.
Everyone calm the fuck down. That
And also, with the farting thing, it's a power play.
the farting thing.
I'm showing confidence, be like making people fart for me.
Right, you would make them
Who's
fart.
in that queue? Who's like, hey, what's the
So
front of
you're a
this queue?
billionaire.
Yeah, you're at the
sitting
back of this
in the
queue.
vault, ready to go down into the vault.
You can see a massive queue forming. Like, what's everyone queuing for?
I'm
We're
there-
just
I'm there
queuing to
with
go
a
fart
tummy
for the
ache.
master.
I shouldn't have had Domino's last night.
Yeah.
That's such
I don't know if my fart's going to be good or not. I'm going to have to find out until we get there.
Oh, yeah, blood.
I'm like, hey, you don't have to
waiting.
fart for this guy. I'd go to that guy.
And then I run up and I'm like, please let me in. Have you got a toilet in there?
Okay, hold on.
I've just filled my trues. I really need you to let me in. Otherwise, I'm doing the rest of the apocalypse with my pants filled
Yeah.
with the horrible shit.
Just suffering. But
Just
no,
shitting
yeah.
himself and left outside the
I think,
bunker.
I think everyone would just, hunker down in their own homes and try and figure out what's going on.
But I do.
Because would terrestrial TV still work? I guess it would. Or would it not? Would a solar
It would
flare
really
wipe that
depend.
out as well?
Yeah,
I'm not sure
probably.
what it would wipe out. We're saying the internet's dead. We're
Well,
saying
it's a
phones
massive
don't work.
electromagnetic burst, I think.
So
is
anything
essentially
electric
what it
is fucked.
Basically, yes.
It
We're
would.
taken back to candles and
Yeah. Anything that requires electricity to work, consider it possibly affected.
We've gone back 300
shit.
years, basically.
And in a way that isn't easily repairable either. Not just like a turn it back on once it's stopped. Like this is blown. Components would need to be repaired. Things would need to be, rebuilt. So yeah, and it could happen. But I mean, I'm not one of these people that wants to spread more doom. At the moment, especially, there's a huge amount of like,
Oh, so you're saying
God, World War
this
III is
won't
going to happen. And I mean, obviously, I went on record a few years ago and said COVID's probably going to be like swine flu, and obviously it wasn't. But like at the same time, I do feel like it's important to be like, there's a lot of talk about World War III at the moment, and honestly, it's a lot of, obviously we're in a really hot situation right now, but it's not. I don't want to add to this with like, what would you do in an apocalypse? I don't want to add to the daily noise necessarily because we think that we want to talk about this necessarily because we think like World War III is happening.
Well, you heard about
It's
the
just, I'm just thinking about people living their
Yeah.
daily life and like they listen to our podcast and they're like, fucking hell, they're talking about living in a bunker.
Well,
Then they open the news and they see this shit and it's like,
the angle I took was,
Yeah.
what would you do in a solar flare? And I talked about farting. That was
Yeah,
my
yeah.
angle.
that's true. Yeah.
you were just more interested in the correlation
I want
between
you to come up with a
fart-based knowledge
ridiculous
and a solar flare.
answer.
So there's not even going to the bunkers. We're fine. We're fit in the solar flare actually only
I
just
still
blew-
wouldn't mind a
knock
queue.
things out for 3 days, but we've got it back online, and now Trott's more interested in what he can learn through farts.
What age
I think
do
you
they?
could learn a lot.
What
Yeah.
age do they start conscription?
18.
And what is there a cap? What's the oldest?
Yeah, what's the top end?
The top end.
I
Are
mean,
we in that?
It would depend.
We're going to get sent
But
out.
I think
Would we
in,
get sent?
the last draft for the UK
Would you go, or would you
was
figure
World
out
War II.
a new life
I
somewhere
think.
else?
Would I fight? Well,
Yeah.
only 23% of Britain surveyed recently in a YouGov poll. I think it was
Nice.
YouGov.
23%.
I didn't get
said that
asked.
they would serve, whilst places like Finland, for example, who've basically been sort of worrying about Russia for years and years and years because they share a border with them. Like something like 86% of Finns said they would fight to defend their country. It's all about. I mean, there's loads. I mean, I am not the most informed person to ask about this, so perhaps go and listen to.
I'm glad you asked him, Ross.
A few other things, but like there's a
not
really good
informed.
podcast called The News Agents that I've been listening to recently with Emily Matlis and a couple of other people. She was the one that interviewed Prince Andrew in the time that he told her he couldn't sweat.
Yeah, what crazy.
And like there's the rest is politics with
I listened to the rest of
Alice-
entertainment the other day.
yeah there's like a
It's
whole
series. Sorry, that's
Yeah.
terrible.
but
Oh,
Podcast
nice
etiquette.
Pepsi Max there.
But they talk about this a lot more and about like
Yeah.
conscription and the realities of basically the bottom line is about the recent chat about conscription is that you can only successfully conscript within a country if popular opinion is for a war.
Oh, really? So they
Currently-
can't just force you then. I thought
Well, no, as in it won't work. You will have rebellions.
Ah, I see,
like,
yeah,
like
yeah.
if more than half your population is going, no, we don't want to fight this war. Come and make us. and you've only got 70,000 soldiers in the entire army, how are you going to make 60 million people, 30 million people go and fight a war with 70,000 soldiers?
It's simple, really.
The difference will come as if a Russian missile lands on a factory or something somewhere. You know, say opinion on a war changes as soon as, you know, your parent or sibling gets blown up by an enemy rocket.
A real motivation.
Yeah, but obviously that's a long way away. Also, the EU just approved 50 billion for support for Ukraine, which is fucking amazing. In geopolitics news,
because they're using them as a kind of a blocker.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, then we really have to get involved. It's going to cost a lot more than 50
I mean,
billion.
obviously, it's not like war in general is fucking horrendous, but it's the right decision to keep supporting Ukraine, I think, in terms of geopolitics and stability in the world. If you want my 2 cents, what should we talk about something else?
Yeah, there's other things. There's let's go to the funny stuff.
I say funny
as in I found this. Was this? I don't know if this was sent to me or I saw it. Anyway, the headline is Australian man escapes jail for exposing his penis at Hungry Jack's after a super Viagra orgy.
Sorry, what?
Yeah, so Australian man escapes jail for exposing his penis at Hungry Jack's after super Viagra orgy.
What's super Viagra?
So Hungry Jack's is
Australian Burger King.
It brings many questions, doesn't it? Yeah. So is it just an Australian Burger King?
It's literally Australian Burger King.
It's got the same logo.
It's got the exact same logo, but it's called Hungry Jack's.
Hungry Jack's in a BAP. Is the logo.
That's the logo. And it says he's escaped jail for visiting Hungry Jack's drive-thru with a visible erection after claiming he was suffering from the effects of super Viagra.
So we had to let it out, obviously. So we pushing against his.
Sorry, at what point do you have to let it out?
Well, it's Viagra.
You used to wear trousers and kind of tuck it in the belt.
You could uptuck, yeah, for sure.
I need to wear
extra, or like I have to wear something softer. I'll put some trackies on.
He's got his Barney
I need to hang a coat on it.
I get a couple of little bits of wide duct tape it to my belly,
and
then get into a onesie.
Fucking hell.
What are you dealing with?
Just think of the removal
barge
process.
Pole. Anyway,
do you think that it was a genetic oversight that penises aren't long enough to just rest the tip in your belly button?
It doesn't rest in it though.
Like, imagine if you could just
plug it in.
It's like an electric car. Yeah.
To be fair, some have curved penises.
Some do, and some have long enough ones to put it into your belly button.
It's a huge oversight.
It's a huge oversight.
And an underused belly button.
Once you say the belly button, what are you expecting? That it's going to hold it like a suction cup?
Yeah, like a car charger. You know,
just plug it in. Don't worry, it's just storing it there until later use.
Anyway, sorry.
Anyway, his lawyer Peter Maley told the court his client had taken a substance known as Pit Bull Super. There you go, if you want to grab that. Which is a super Viagra. Super Viagra.
I like that they've name checked the
Pit Bull Super. The substance, which contains multiple erectile dysfunction medicines, promises on the packet to give a man an erection that lasts for days.
Sounds like
which I've heard is a terrible thing and shouldn't really be. Like, apparently after is it 4 hours?
Yeah,
that's considered priapism.
Oh my god! Yeah, because
and then you need to see a doctor.
Yeah,
and then they need to bloody drain it with an actual syringe. Sounds horrible.
Pitbull Super. I've got it here. One single pill, natural formulation apparently.
Oh god, here's the logo. Yeah, the logo's on here.
Pitbull Super lasts for days. It's 14 quid, single dose.
Stay wild.
Stay wild. It lasts for days though.
That's bad, isn't it?
You have to have a plan. 62,000 milligrams.
Look how intimidating that pill is.
Is that what that says? Why is it not in a killer?
It's just like a jet black pill. Surrounded by like a red stroke.
Natural formula. Long-lasting, no headache. There you go. Anyway, that's if you really, really want a super Viagra, and you're like, I really want a boner for several days.
I'm going to need this up for days.
I don't know. Why would you need it for days? Anyway.
62,000 milligrams.
That's not important. He seemed like he needed it. He said it had the desired effect. After enjoying his time with a number of young ladies, 51-year-old Richardson reportedly remained rigid, and when his penis began to split, he started to panic.
What?
So he went for a feed.
What? Sorry, what?
Sorry,
what? Split?
Started to split.
This is what
his penis started
supposedly,
to split.
Yeah. Says he explained that Richardson's genitals were too sensitive to wear shorts, so he draped a towel over the affected area.
That's good.
And went through the drive-thru of Hungry Jack's, the home of the Whopper across the ditch.
Why is there no clarification on what splitting?
I say this is written by New Zealand. Across the ditch is probably a term that we don't use. That term. That's not our term.
Okay, carry on.
Anyway, it was reported that his tumescence was witnessed by a 16-year-old worker who was reduced to tears by the experience. So, I mean, how did he escape jail? I don't know. I'm guessing he was in his car with a towel draped over his erect
Over his
penis.
dick.
And he's like, I'm getting a burger.
Ultimately, like, the fact he's erect, as long as he wasn't like, hey, stick a burger on my dick, you know?
This is it.
Like,
I'm guessing it was just a case of, I've seen something I shouldn't see.
I saw
or
an erection.
didn't see the erection, just saw a lifted towel.
Yeah.
I mean...
Magic trick.
Hang on, does it say... Hang on, sorry. What does that say? Boners are better at Hungry Jack's, the paper thundered in the front page headline. Actions as a whopper fallacy. It generated a vibrant debate on Talkback Radio, where host Ray Hadley described Richardson's explanation as a load of poppycock. The magistrate has tumbled for the greatest load of crap I've heard in my life, he claimed.
So he thinks it didn't happen.
Well, I don't know. It feels like it feels like a kink thing, almost. Why would you leave your home when you can order?
He was hungry.
I don't think you can.
Can't you order?
No,
maybe not.
This is in
rural.
Is this New Zealand or Australia?
Australia. It's in Australia.
Right. So
across the ditch from New Zealand.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, the ditch, that famously narrow ditch of a giant fucking ocean.
Yeah.
Anyway,
yeah.
The judge agreed that he should have been at the doctor's rather than Hungry Jack's drive-through.
Agreed.
And his decision had backfired quite dramatically.
But if you're hungry,
but did anything actually? No, nothing actually.
He got handed a 9-month good behaviour bond. So I'm guessing anything happens in 9 months, he's straight to jail. Do not pass go.
Better stay flaccid for 9 months.
I don't know if it's like a penis punishment.
Cock cage. 9 months.
A cock cage. Man, that would be quite the punishment. Yeah, put him in a cock cage and then make him eat one of these pills again.
Oh my god.
It'd be like a fucking Play-Doh. You just
talk about a split.
Comes out star-shaped.
Yeah.
I'm just baffled.
Damages all the tissue.
That they just skirted over the fact that the penis started to split and then they just moved on with
this
the story.
This is what's kind of weird. They've not been like, how did it split and why is that relative to you wanting to go to Hungry Jack's?
I don't believe it started to split. I don't believe that your
He probably said it hurt so much it felt like it was about to split.
Yeah.
Or like it was so engorged that he felt like
is it like
going
a
to just blow
colloquial
up?
term maybe?
Sorry.
Like getting erection is called like getting a split
I don't think so.
in Australia. Banana split.
The way that they phrase it doesn't
I wouldn't
seem
put
like
it past those animals, but no, I don't think so.
What? What the fuck?
Animals? What, the Australian
fuck?
people?
Don't just say
You,
what.
Is that what you're saying?
It's not mine.
Well, that's what you're assuming.
No, you said the Australian people.
You said those animals.
Fucking hell.
Anyway, Jesus, I apologise to our Australian listeners if there are any.
Not anymore.
Not anymore.
They're all gone.
They're all just at Hungry Jack's, clearly.
With their earth splitting, like, yeah.
So he just said the pill was too strong.
It does make
I'm
you
surprised it's legal to sell that stuff. I was in a lot of pain. I wasn't trying to flash myself at anyone. I just wanted to grab a feed and go home.
You just wanted to feed,
He said it took
like a horse.
several days
going
to
for
recover
oats.
from the effects of Super Viagra.
To recover several. What?
Well, because he probably just had an aching erection for several days.
I just feel like it's
That's a
not
long
a part. It's the way they sort of. It took me a couple of days to recover from the dick pill I bought off of the. I just feel like.
It must have been.
In what way are you talking about any of this stuff casually? Like, you know, I got this dick pill. It made me hard for 3 days.
This guy
then I went to
took the pill and went to
trouble.
This guy took the pill and went to a fucking Burger King.
I feel like you want
His
the
level of
attention,
normal.
right?
I think so.
His level of
I don't think that's what
normal
that's
is so much
I think that's what they're alluding to. The fact that he clearly wanted it to be a thing.
Yeah.
So you know, yeah, it's weird. Very strange.
Yeah.
So you don't recommend
situation.
that brand particularly then?
I don't.
Well, Hungry Jack's.
I reckon that's
It
a big
sounds
ad.
dangerous.
That sounds
It
like a
does
big
seem
what?
like why?
Pitbull XL. No way.
How is that a big ad? Oh, you're going to have a boner for
It
days, but
works.
it's going to ache so much that you have to have also like several days recovery time.
Well, it's not fake. It definitely works.
Apparently so. Yeah.
So
Is their tagline like "Get a cock like a illegal breed"?
What does it say? Does it say it's just like basically
your
several
Hungry Jack.
Vigras in one? Or is it
He just said multiple.
Said multiple.
Well, they're like.
Okay.
This is the thing though. Like, you can buy it without a prescription. I don't know whether you can do that in the UK. Can you get Viagra without a prescription?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, can you? Yeah, fair enough.
should I Google
But,
it? I don't know if I want that in my
I
head.
know you're going to get so many cookies as well. Like, that's the main thing they're trying to
Cookies.
tell you. And then you
Yeah.
look up
Your
dick
data's gonna
pills,
be
and
just-
then you're never going
Your
to
emails.
stop getting Viagra.
Oh, I got another 10 emails. What are they? Oh.
They were cold calling you, but now they have proof that you're interested.
Yes.
You know, like
Yeah,
so.
you get them anyway.
Yeah.
God damn.
Okay, well, we can move on to something different. We mentioned F1 last week about the funny
That's
names.
true.
There was some drama today, which will
Big
shock
drama in the
actual
F1
Oh,
fans. It's not
yeah.
funny, and it's
Oh,
not. It's
okay.
just the fact that Lewis Hamilton's been with Mercedes for a long time.
He's not left Mercedes.
He's going to in 2025 to Ferrari,
Oh my god.
which is a massive deal, really, because he was always, waving the Mercedes flag.
Was his car always red anyway?
No.
It's gonna be now,
No,
isn't it?
no. I mean, was he with Ferrari? No.
That's huge.
He was with McLaren before.
I mean, he might as well, I suppose.
But yeah, so I mean, that's an interesting.
Aren't they all basically the
development.
same car anyway? Don't really matter.
Well, not really, I guess. Otherwise, well, I mean, they're all like within a few milliseconds
go
of each
fast.
other. Yeah,
No
which
idea.
is always kind of
Yeah.
crazy. You know, the difference is in milliseconds. But yes, it'd be interesting to see the difference. I think it spices the F1 up a bit
Does
more.
it?
Because rather than just like staying with the same
Who's
team,
currently in Ferrari that's going to get like demoted because
probably
of
Carlos Sainz will be taken out, I reckon. Because I think he's probably the lesser of the
get
two.
benched?
Yeah,
Maybe
Anyway.
he'll go to Mercedes.
maybe. Who
Straight
knows?
swap.
Or we're saying that I
Fuck
think
knows.
Perez. Yeah, again, it's just
It's all just new branding opportunities. Let's be honest. Like as in
certainly
this
is,
could
yeah.
be like end of Lewis, like the last few years of Lewis Hamilton's like stature in this like sport. But like
Well, yeah,
not that I care about these things, but like as in
Yeah.
he gets to go to a new brand, Ferrari, and then there'll be a bunch of new brand deals and new sponsorships he'll be able to
Yeah.
get because of his new association with this new thing. He's new news again. You know,
Yeah.
like,
Maybe he's like,
rather
oh, I
than,
don't want a Maybach. I want
Yeah.
one of the newer Ferraris
Yeah.
in my roster as I retire.
Yeah.
And they'll be given to him for free because
Yeah.
is
Is
now
this like
waving the,
the,
Ferrari flag.
And all the other
But I don't
luxury
think he's
Italian
worried about
brands will
yeah,
be like, hey, yeah, we know you're a Ferrari guy. We want to sponsor you now.
yeah.
you
Although
know?
I can't imagine he's worried about money. He's got.
I know it's
fucking
weird,
private
but
jet.
I mean, I guess it scales up, doesn't it? They're
Sure.
probably always worried about money.
Everything's relative, yeah.
But
I don't think they're worried.
it is nuts. To
The word worry is the wrong word.
worried about
Just
winning.
you know,
Yeah.
it's nice to have
It's
several
all about
Ferraris in the garage,
stature.
isn't it?
Yeah.
But I don't
Hans-
think that's the reason. It can't be the reason. I think he's probably just bored at fucking the fact that Mercedes haven't been doing well for the last few years. And also, yeah, there was a whole drama of him missing out on that last win against Verstappen.
And he's blaming.
No, I don't think he's blaming Well, Mercedes just got really shit after that. Like, they changed the rules, some of the rules on certain builds of the cars, and then the cars
No more
were
Lego.
shit. Anyway,
Can't use
we're not
Lego.
an F1 podcast.
All I know about F1 is that it fucked up a lot of our Uber rides in Vegas.
Yeah.
Yes, no, the
Because of the
Vegas.
construction of the Vegas.
I think
track.
the residents of Vegas kind of hated it.
No, I'm
There was
sure
a
they
lot
do.
of- yeah, well, it was a big upheaval.
But don't worry, you got it for the next, 10 years?
Something like that, yeah.
Lol.
Anyway, well, that's the F1 news for you. We don't have to do an F1 segment all this time. This came up this morning, and I thought, oh, I'll mention it.
That's new
We also
drama.
mentioned the fact that the name changed last week, which was kind of stupid.
That was really stupid.
What was it again? Cash App,
Oh, God,
PayPal
yeah.
or something.
Cash App Visa.
It's
Yeah.
Visa Cash App
Cash App,
RB1.
Visa, RB1 or some shit, yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
Kinda
it's,
stupid.
I think it's an interesting talking point, F1, because it is like one of the more absurd, decadent sports of our like era. And there's stuff to talk about there in reflection of, you know,
Should we talk about darts instead? You fan of darts?
I like playing darts.
I think
It
we
was
should bring
all the
back
rave
comedic
with-
juggling.
Comedic juggling.
Yeah.
Where did it
Comedic
go?
juggling.
When did it go? When
That's
did you last see it?
Is that a
like
sport?
the
Or is
Do you
it
mean
just
like
a-
tumbling
80s,
and
90s when the people could go on stage
Yeah.
and their main thing could be
to juggle?
juggling whilst throwing a few candid jokes out there as well.
Oh, wow.
Oh, okay.
Joking and juggling.
Where did that go?
Jokeling.
I don't know. I think... is there much demand for it? I suppose is there a demand for it is the real question.
Does it matter?
But
Is
Is there
there?
a demand for TikTok dances? You see a load of them anyway.
I think there must be, clearly, if it's continued to be
I reckon if we just start juggling,
there could
maybe
be
we could-
jugglers on TikTok. I've not... it's not
are
my-
they
I've
cracking
not looked
jokes?
for that.
Are they cracking cool jokes?
I couldn't tell you. I've not done any research on this. You've
Like
thrown
they're
a
juggling and they're
curveball at-
pretending like, oh, I can't juggle.
Well, you just coming up with some really weird, wacky curveballs today, Trott. And
Probably have some sort of disease or something.
what? Wackiness
disease.
disease.
Wacky disease, yeah.
Yeah.
Just inhaled too many 3D fumes.
Yeah. You're getting your brains
Can you
melting.
tell?
Smooth face.
I think I've been a
Hey, smooth face.
too long.
He's been.
Smooth
I always
face.
thought the 3D printer stuff. I was just like, "Ow, the fumes will be fine," but you know,
No, it's really bad for you.
The
no.
microparticles. You know, those tiny particles.
No, well, it's the fact that UV resin, the liquid stuff that I use, is highly toxic, and you can develop a serious allergy for them if it has contact with you. Also, the IPA I use to wash away the bad resin is extremely pungent and gets into the air.
So
And
your
I
lungs
just
are taking
live
hits,
in
are they?
that. Yeah.
The lungs are taking a double hit. Well, I wish you all the best, Chris Trott, with
I
your.
print out real cool minis though.
Yeah,
Oh, that's good. We got something out of it.
maybe you should get like an industrial extraction
have shortened
system
your
built
life,
into the
but-
room you have your printer in.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, or just do it over where the hob is. So you can then...
Or I should
Do you
just-
have an extraction system?
Yeah.
Do you?
Yeah.
Okay.
I got little fans and stuff.
But like, does it take it out of the room?
Yeah, yeah. It
Right,
goes out
okay.
the window.
Nice. Well, that's good.
Yeah, but
now it's nature's problem.
Or I could suck it up and not be a little puss.
Well, there is that.
I could adapt.
That is the
If I
methodology
breathe enough IPA,
Yeah.
I can learn to breathe with it.
Yeah.
True.
And
I
then
mean,
you
people
hit
live with
60
asbestos
and all
for many years, right?
Well, yeah. I mean, there's quite a few of my family members have worked in industrial settings with chemicals and things like that, and
They're fine.
well,
They're fine, right?
there was there's always been this like big anti-PPE like element to being a trade or industrial person.
Well, I don't need that.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know whether it exists so
Why
much.
using gloves on that?
Yeah.
Just build up the callus in your
200
hands.
degrees. I can't quite grab it with my hands. No, I just grab it. Oh, bloody hell.
Big girls' blouse, big girls' blouse. But yeah, hopefully that's not the case anymore. But yeah, no, it does seem like it fucks you up pretty bad.
It's like work peer pressure.
Yeah, it is. It is exactly that. It's a weird, bizarre, like enforcement of a lack of change through peer pressure against something that's clearly a good idea.
We're not using a mask, are you, pussy? As he coughs up his lungs.
Yeah.
Toxic masculinity masking hidden anxiety, right?
I guess so, yeah. The worry that they haven't done that, so that you will be living with a different set of advantages maybe than they will. I don't know. Or rather, they need to start worrying about it. By projecting a sense of you don't need to worry about it, they don't need to engage with their own anxiety. So yeah, pretty much 101. Pretty much any kind of communication issue comes down to, doesn't it?
But really back to the farting, which I think is really the big matter at hand here. Maybe we should get some training.
What if training? Do you think there's a way to create like data that is in an aerosol gas form? So like, you know, how would you do it?
Like you spray the air and it's like, oh, it's the new music I want, the album, thank you. Is that what you mean?
Yeah, that's exactly what I mean.
The way of sharing data through aerosol.
Aerosol.
Yeah. So you could compress any form of data into an aerosol. How would that work in your mind? And yeah, go on, solve it.
So it's more about like the aerosol.
Solvent.
I think would be easy, right?
Yeah.
So you have all your data in aerosol form. It's essentially zeros and ones, right?
I guess
so. You just fucking
you could
scatter them
digitize
to the
it.
wind, right?
But then they're all out of order though, because they're in an aerosol.
That's the important thing. It's
Right.
you need a collection system
that already knows exactly what to look for.
which reorients.
So you don't need the aerosol.
You don't really need-
You need the thing that already knows what it's looking for.
Yeah, you just essentially have a copy and it looks cool when you spray it. I don't know.
What's your idea?
I don't think this will work,
Okay.
personally. But did you see that they've actually done their first human trials on Neuralink?
No.
Oh, they have?
They've initiated them. So I don't think there's any results yet, but that person could be dead
Who
right now.
accepted
We don't
that?
know.
Because there's been a lot of animals dying.
People fucking queue up for that shit. People are like, I want to be the first one, because
be
they're
a
all just about
cyborg.
clout and likes and whatever shit. They're like, oh, I get to say I did it, and then like,
Oh!
great, you're horrendously brain damaged.
Get the air gun.
Yeah, well,
Sorry.
yeah. Sorry, it's just you signed up.
Holy
for this.
shit, we had to execute Zoella last week.
Stupid idiot signed the paperwork. Didn't even think. She just said, "Hey, I'm gonna get more likes for
She
this."
came in with an Apple Vision on, and we just bolted her in the back of the head. And
Yeah, that'll be interesting to see what happens though with that.
Uh,
Maybe you
yeah.
could use aerosols to.
I feel like,
Send data to their
unfortunately,
Neuralink.
Elon Musk has tainted all of those companies for me.
Yeah.
Like, SpaceX is incredible, and what they're doing is amazing, and I love to follow it. Elon Musk has tainted it because he's at the top of it.
Yeah.
Tesla, same thing. He's kind of tanked the whole market and the brand for me. And Neuralink, again, is like, it's just Elon playing God with our brains. And that's just a little worrying for me. It's like there's someone at the top there that can just tell all these engineers and scientists to go in this direction instead of that direction, not for the benefit of humankind, for his ego.
Yeah.
And that's my big worry about the whole thing.
Yeah.
It's like, sure, it may be beneficial eventually, but to what end and why is he doing it really? It's worrying.
And also, like, if you extrapolate that, like, think about how countries, like governments run countries, right? Like right now, we don't, well, most democracies don't like a centralized single point of
Private companies
power.
as well. Yeah.
Exactly. Now, if these companies are going to become more and more entwined with how we live our lives, like turning into a more like corporation-ran country, not necessarily ours, America, lots of other European countries, who the fuck knows, China. Like, think about how dangerous it is. You're absolutely right to have a person like that at the top, who essentially is now running a country as well.
He's an
as a company.
egomaniac.
This is what, but I mean, it happens. I think it happens to these people because you become a victim of your own success and you turn into a nutcase. Like, I think there's a certain point when you reach a certain level of power and innovation and control and all this sort of elements where you need to step down and give that to a board of people. You need to democratize decision making.
We've mentioned Elon Musk before and slagged him off and stuff without really explaining the reasons why, because it feels like everyone should know. But there are people saying that, oh, how did he get to those positions anyway? How has he managed to do that? He's obviously very smart. He's obviously very talented in some ways to be able to get to those positions. But I think also like it's a bit of a snowball. Once you get a large amount of money, you can just buy companies that know how to do these things and they run themselves anyway, right?
Yeah.
Because I can imagine being an actual CEO would take a lot of fucking time and energy, and I don't think you could probably ask most CEOs of most companies whether they actually have time to tweet at all.
I'm not denying he's not smart.
No, but
he's
as in,
very
like,
good at like.
He spends all of his time doing that shit.
Oh yeah.
Whereas like, how
absolutely.
does he have any free time at all to do
Excessively.
any of that stuff when he's got like 6 companies or 5 different massive, multi-billion-dollar companies?
Like you say,
They're all being run by other
people.
people.
Yeah.
And so like, you can kind of trust that they might be. There's someone with their head switched on that knows what they're doing with these companies.
Like,
there's an egomaniac at the top. But there's got to be something out of these companies that's working properly.
he was lucky to be born into wealth,
Of course,
as well, and so he always had that
I think he
leg up to
I
get
think he
started.
denies that, doesn't he?
Like money makes
He's
money.
clearly a mental,
Yeah.
like kind of. He clearly has several issues, like personal, like obviously there's all sorts of crazy shit going on with Elon Musk. I don't need to even touch on it. I think it's more about like how companies get made, how the decision making ends up going, the kind of people, personalities involved in getting these things made, and then eventually running them and turning them into something. I mean, like you say, it's at the point now where a lot of these big companies, not necessarily just him and his stupid name, but other huge companies around the world, all have massive impacts on all of your lives, but you have no ability to vote on that impact. And people are like, well, you just don't buy their products, and it's like, well, it's not really like it's like consumer activism's a weak antidote to the power they have. So like it needs same thing with all the stuff we talk about, same with like AI, all this shit.
Needs a good solar flare.
It needs legislation. It needs people, smart people coming together and deciding how we're going to actually handle all these things.
Look, we predicted the Crockerman, and it could actually be real with these human trials.
Yeah.
I think so.
I assume he's kind of.
What if we? What
Because
if
the flip side of this is that you're right about the whole tainting thing, and like Neuralink is not just about controlling. I mean, it could be used for that, I guess, one day, but also it could be used for
military.
But it could also be used for health. It could be used for like helping people walk again. It could be used for like so many other like people overcoming disabilities,
motor neuron.
I mean, and these
military
things as
weapons.
Well. Yeah.
The drones alone, fuck me.
Yeah,
Jesus.
You don't even need to get that complicated to develop terrifying weapons.
Drones are horrifying.
People are
The use case for those is
complication.
insane in like a war zone.
Yeah, they are.
Because they are just fucking kamikazing into people and just like dropping bombs. And it's just like you hear buzzing above, you're fucked. But like also look at the crazy displays at New Year's of all these drones working in coordination. Imagine a swarm of those fuckers chasing you down in a war zone. That would be the fucking worst. I mean, obviously, and that's the next step. That's probably way better than those little fucking dogs that can run around.
Yeah,
and those are just backup, just to finish off the Well,
actually, it depends on your money.
dregs.
It depends on your monetary value. Actually, so I'll keep you. I'll make you feel a little bit more secure. You're probably never going to be chased. Well, maybe not in anytime soon. Chased by a swarm of drones that are going to kill you because it'd be too expensive. You're not worth it.
Oh, I'm not.
Like you're probably worth less than $1,000 as a soldier. So as in that you personally, if you were conscripted, again, I was reading, I don't know, the Wall Street Journal's analysis of munition use or something like that. But basically, there's a load of like guided rockets and drones and shit that could be shot down that are coming into Ukraine. But the reason is that when a drone costs 20 grand and an anti-air missile costs like 400 million or something, well, not that, but Patriot missile systems are like exceedingly expensive to use. You basically can only use certain munitions on certain threats. So, like, the all likelihood is you're still going to be getting nailed by a hand grenade strapped to a 3D printed drone rather than the ones you saw at New Year's Eve. Yeah. So, if that helps, it's not going to get much.
How would you count? So, let's say you can see there's a drone there. What do you think could be good at countering it? Like a net gun?
Yeah, so
like where it's
artillery
just like
positions
something that just fires a net out, because I think that's probably the cheapest and easiest thing. You can just kind of fire nets out there, so at least grabs them and disables them in some way.
But it's more expensive. electronic warfare systems.
Yeah.
So there's a couple of ways they do it. So they do.
But
the
I saw
thing.
those, but they use drones to then destroy those as well because they used EMP things, whatever.
Oh
to
yeah, well you
stop
can
signals.
actually broadcast like in an area, like
Right.
an area denial. So like but the problem is it interferes with all other sort of shit.
Yeah.
But yeah, essentially you can scramble the transmission wavelength that they use. So I think it's used like the 5.8 gigahertz spectrum is usually what they use. That's what.
That's why my
FPV
Wi-Fi's on the blink.
Yeah, so that's that's where 5G is in that part of the spectrum. It's where TV used to be. I think
Right.
analog TV used to be in the spectrum. But no, yeah, you're right. But with like artillery positions, if they're prepared enough, they'll put up huge nets amongst the trees that are hard to spot. So that when a targeting drone comes in, it'll stop the drone in that. Very practical.
But
Like
it's the
all
ones that
very
are high up
practical.
and then they drop a bomb. That's scary as well.
What
It's just
about
those,
Yeah.
loads of those videos going around.
like a metal umbrella?
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
That's a shield. What you're
Yeah,
describing.
yeah, and then you duck down into a dome.
Yeah, like a dome, just a giant
dome
metal
umbrella.
ball that you can roll
Yeah.
around in, like a hamster ball.
Yep.
That's gonna be quite a heavy umbrella.
Sounds like a.
Yeah, it will be. But then I've got an exoskeleton suit.
They have used those drones. They use those against tanks as well. They just blow those up out.
Different-
What kind of metal umbrella are you using this better?
Well, Captain America shield style.
It's
like
kind of shocking
vibranium.
how effective those fuckers are. And it's just like that's the next step, isn't it? We're seeing it.
So we need to build bunkers.
Anyway, it's so harrowing because there was a guy who literally put his hands up to one, and it's just like it doesn't surrender. It's not
I
going to
think he
accept your
might
surrender.
be a
That's
vic-
crazy.
That's war, but you're not just seeing technology there. You're seeing war. It's I mean, obviously, again, I'm not trying to pretend to be an expert on this shit. So please don't think that I am. But it's
We
just
keep saying that you are a resident.
I do have
expert.
I
That's
know.
our fault.
But I know you're not. But some people are like,
yeah.
you know, I'm trying to explain
None
the
of us are
things I've
experts
read
at
and
any of
stuff,
this stuff.
and I'm not. But like, yeah, it's just horrendous. It's absolutely horrific. But it's
yeah.
weird because it's part of everyday life because you see it on the platforms you
Yeah.
use, and this is why we're talking
This is
about
the
it.
problem.
It's everyday life.
Chronic online consumption.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah,
you say
yeah.
that, but it's an awareness as well because I think it's like
But what are you going to do with that?
because those fuckers queuing up at World War One saying, "Yeah, let's get involved."
Mm-hmm.
They didn't have to worry about that shit. Although they weren't fully aware of what was going to happen when they got
but
there.
why are
oh
you
fuck, this is
aware?
actually terrible.
You don't have to be aware of it and therefore worry about it.
But they were queuing up to get involved because they were like, "Yeah, all G'd up, fight for their country and stuff."
Yeah.
But obviously, we know the realities of what that's going to look like, and also the people fucking saying, "Do this, do that, don't get touched at all." They're in their fucking
Yeah.
diamond
But you
palaces.
know that now. So now you,
Diamond palaces.
They're in a diamond protected
Everything's
dome,
made of diamond.
and they're just calling the shots, and they get to live out the rest of their
All I'm
lives
saying
without
is-
any kind of guilt.
you're
Like
you're
George
aware
W.
of
Bush.
the harrowing scenario of war, so you don't need to consume any more of it.
Oh no, yeah, but it's just
But
it's very much thrown
it's
into your
just
face.
making you worse in your
It's-
day-to-day
it's-
life.
Yeah.
Just worried about a drone coming out of the sky.
Well, I don't worry about it here, but if I was in a
I think the
war
worst
zone,
case scenario is if they combine a New Year's drone display like Godzilla
yeah.
running at you, and that is all drones in a war. Like that is
That'd be
charging
cool.
you.
Like the Gandalf Dragonfire.
Yeah.
But
Hey, look over the hills.
Holy shit! We don't know if that's a complex light display or they've actually got a Robo Godzilla. We
Not
can't
really sure. Is it firing at us? Oh my god.
use the nuke. Yes, we tricked them into using the
Shit,
nuke.
yeah.
Munitions War 1.
Yeah, right. Fuck.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Because that's what was happening in like world wars as well. They'd put like prop tanks and prop airfields up, so they would create whole false areas of
like
of pretend places, so that Germans would drop bombs on false targets and use munitions. It's all a big part of war, so that very much could happen one day.
Wasn't that what they did in the filming of Dunkirk? They had a load of cardboard cutouts that are waving. in
Oh,
the
yeah,
wind.
yeah, did
Same
they?
as
Yeah.
Commando,
Yeah.
the film Commando with
Yes.
Was it Stallone or was it Schwarzenegger?
I think that
I'm not
was
sure, but basically, yeah, there was just a load like real explosions.
Yeah, yeah.
But there's a load of flapping dummies like just waving in the wind next to it.
Have you
It's
seen
just
Masters
cheap.
of the Air yet? The new Band of Brothers thing.
No.
Oh,
It was
okay.
really a new Band of Brothers thing.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
I-
Fuck, I love
again,
Band of Brothers.
I don't know
It's
what it
really
is
well
about Apple TV, or people just ignore Apple TV. But there's
It's not even talked about.
it's bizarre.
It's just not anywhere. Like it's yeah.
So it's the third like installment. So obviously Pacific
Shit,
came
yeah, that was
after
really well done.
Band of Brothers. This is now called Masters of the Air, and it's about U.S. bomber command, like basically like when the Americans entered the war, and followed.
Which is what all the only thing that matters, right?
World
when
War
America
II.
got involved.
Well, it wasn't going very well until they did.
So do we thank the Japanese or?
You thank Hitler for trying to attack Russia.
right, well.
But don't thank him for anything.
we should be thanking anything.
But yeah, basically, it's about about their bomber command, and it's I just wondered if you'd seen it. But it's interesting because you're talking
haven't.
about the flappy like cardboard shit in films and stuff. I wasn't that impressed with the CG in the new one. Not just no spoilers. The Masters of the Air.
Oh right.
Some of the CGI, specifically when the bombers are like taxiing on like driveways and stuff, I was like, maybe my television's too big, but that doesn't look very real.
This is too enlarged.
Yeah.
Shrink it down.
I think
That's better.
You need to watch it on the true experience.
You need to watch it on your phone.
No,
using the phone speaker.
Apple wants you to watch it on the new Apple Vision Pro, then it's going to look amazing.
Yeah, maybe. Because then I can look around the scene.
Yeah.
I can turn around.
Honey, this film's great.
I can turn around and watch the cameraman and light people just go like.
But also,
I'll let you watch after.
Yeah.
Wow.
Wow.
Cool.
We could not
What a shared experience. Are you watching
fucking
it on the
serious?
laptop? Is it good? I don't know. Can you see my eyes?
You're distracting me. I'm going to crown you out now. Just going to full immersion.
No, I am paying attention.
Don't look at my eyes.
Honey, stop talking. Your ugly AI demon representation is freaking me the fuck out.
Those look so warped. Yeah.
It has been interesting seeing the reviews coming out for the Apple Vision Pro.
Yeah.
Like, obviously, I'm very
Marcus Brown
excited.
was pretty in depth. I like that.
I think the Verge one was really good too.
Oh, okay.
If you've watched that one. Basically, it's exactly what you would imagine. It's incredible technology, and they've really pushed that technology, and they're creating new names for it, spatial computing when it's VR. But it's like, there's no like killer feature on it that's like, this is better than using a laptop or having a TV. There's no like app on it. You know, like iPhones, it had like certain things on it. It's like, this is worth amalgamating an iPod,
exactly.
a phone, and a thing.
It was
It's
the
not-
music, it was the phone, it was the computer, it was the calendar, it was the email. All
and they
those
put it
things.
into a nice form factor.
Yeah.
Apple Vision Pro is not the thing that's going to replace or amalgamate or make better the things that already exist.
I mean, it's a stepping stone, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a stepping stone. Like all of these products
The thing
are.
is, tech until tech gets as easy as currently, you pick up your phone, look at it, and that's as easy as it is.
Exactly.
It's so accessible for anyone. You can pick it up, there it is.
Yeah.
Oh, all your information is there. You see it, notifications, whatever. Like, to have to then put a headset on, you've got that awkward kind of barrier.
That's
Sure,
the thing.
you can now see everything, which is great. I think that's a really good. That's what you want. You want to be able to
That's
see everything as
they're
well,
going in the right
and have
direction
these
with
things
tech.
floating in the world. That's cool.
It's
But,
smaller
like,
too.
Yeah.
Like it's getting smaller.
Yeah, it's getting smaller, but they've had to do strange workarounds with an extra battery pack and stuff, and they've also done the
very
arsehole
limiting.
classic thing where they made it proprietary, so you couldn't just plug a USB-C into it because they're fucking Apple.
Yeah.
So like it's a stepping stone, and
I think a lot of these people need these companies,
these
these goddamn people need to accept that it's just a goddamn screen, and they need to stop being so excited about it. It's just another form of. That's what I think. I think it's another form of monitor. It's of
course, but I like that
understand
idea.
the software integration around the way you can then interact with that monitor.
Yeah.
But ultimately, it's a monitor first. It's a way you interact with the device, the eye bit of your device.
yeah,
Like,
'cause Siri's dog shit still,
Yeah,
which
it
is
is.
absolutely mind-boggling considering. I mean, you can have a full-blown conversation with the ChatGPT,
yeah.
and like how they haven't got that technology now, or just bought a company that has a capable technology.
But you know what's really
or
sad?
Google, Apple
Well,
Maps.
Apple-
It's like,
Apple
what is
already
wrong
does.
with a company that's got?
Google is rolling back the number of staff it has working on its voice assistant. It's
Oh.
fired loads of people in their
really?
voices, which is really sad because I use the Google Home at home. I know Alexa is the other option, and then Siri, I guess, is maybe the third option, right? Are those the big three like voice assistants you can think of?
Well, yeah.
So Siri shit. Google Assistant, they're rolling support back for it, or rather not working on it as much. And Alexa is okay. I don't know. I don't use it very much.
I'll be honest, though,
it's not really changed.
I fucking hate talking to technology.
Do you?
I find it just because I find it's a barrier. I find I don't want to talk out loud to things.
I love it. I
just
the phone.
Like obviously, I want a point where it's just like I like the idea of the that you can look at something and activate it by looking at it. That's cool. And obviously, it's not a point where you can just mind read. Like, you can't just read your mind. But I just find that talking to technology, please turn this on. I just find that that's really
there's
still
specific
arbitrary.
scenarios where the option would be nice, right? But when you got lube in one hand and you got your dick in the other, and you want the blinds to close and the lights to go out, what are you going to do then, Ross?
Exactly.
You're going to just switch off the light with your hand?
Well, this is the thing, but that's what because obviously I don't even think I've got the feature turned on in these new watches, but it's supposedly you can tap to like access certain things. I don't even think that.
Clank like a lobster.
Have you even activated that on your? I don't even know if I've got that working. But like, as in, hand gestures like to do things in the world.
Yeah.
Seems a bit more organic to me. Even though it might look a
but
bit
it's
stupid, a
also
bit more
not.
like,
Apparently
come on.
Apparently it's really annoying because they've got incredible eye tracking technology in it, right?
The look.
you have to look at the thing that you
Yeah.
interact with, which apparently is not very human,
Yeah.
because the amount of things you don't quite look at, but
Well, like you say, you're jerking it with one hand, lubing constantly, and then you're like looking around, like
Well,
trying.
also,
Obviously,
if
you've
you're
got multiple
typing-
screens of
Yeah.
pornography.
You're doing this the whole time, aren't you? Really?
Well, also,
Yeah.
you type a message
Yeah.
out,
Yeah.
right? And you want to like send it to there. You don't have to be looking at it to
Yeah.
just press enter, right?
Yeah.
In order
Yeah.
to interact with that window, you have to be looking at it at the time of you interacting with it. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's a
It's a
little
limitation
weird.
of the interface. Yeah.
It's not.
But
the
again,
solution.
I mean, it's an interesting piece of technology. I mean, and the thing is, the worst thing about the VR tech demos and stuff, until you use it, you don't fucking know what it's like at all. And I think that's the same with, you can't just, I don't think you can describe them. You can look at it through a screen and be like, oh, that looks pretty cool. But until you experience it, like same with the VR we've tried, it's amazing.
Yeah,
Some is
yeah,
really fucking
yeah,
cool. And it's like so immersive once you're in there. But like
There's still
selling
not
that is so
the
hard, I
thing.
think,
Yeah.
until you actually can try it out. Especially if you're selling a product that's like almost $4,000 or whatever it is. It's
Oh,
like,
yeah. Well, like you were saying
that's
earlier
a big sell.
about the guy who's like, you can watch it in a minute.
Yeah.
Like, if you think about it, right? When was a lot like $3,500 on a television
Yeah.
is a huge amount of money to spend on a
Yeah.
television. I don't think I've ever spent that much on a television, right? And so the idea that you'd need to get another one for your significant other if you both want to enjoy something together,
Yeah.
and even one of them is more expensive than a TV that you can all enjoy.
That's
Yeah,
the problem.
like
Yeah.
That is a
that's
huge
what
challenge.
The Verge raised. It's like, this is an incredible but incredibly isolating experience.
yeah.
And this is just like you go home, honey, you get your mask on, let's go watch something or chill out. And
Yeah.
we're
Yeah.
cooking with our fucking headsets.
But the
on.
whole thing
that
is
is a Black Mirror
tailor-made.
episode.
Yeah.
It's just like, but at the same time, fuck, how cool to be. You've got the recipe there. You're there, just
Yeah.
fucking doing everything. There are aspects of it which are quite cool, but
Yeah.
it's still early stages, and the sharing element is moving away from that. When I thought, when you think all those things, the talks about iPhones and stuff, they're like, oh, you can share everything, share all this, share that. That is one step away from it.
Yeah.
That's the opposite
It's true.
of what
It really
they're
is, yeah.
all about normally.
That is I think the biggest fallacy of the tech and social media era, if you want to call it that, as in like maybe the social media era and rather than tech, but like is the idea that we're being brought closer together because we are never
Not at all.
more divided. And it's just
I think
fucking hilarious
I
that these
think
people
we're
say
becoming
this
more
stuff.
aware of it
Yeah,
as
yeah,
consumers,
yeah.
but I think the tech is.
But
still
it's
trying
just
to
like I
push
can't
that.
believe, like, I love tech. I love the like you say, this incredibly expensive device, this Apple Vision thing. We're talking about it right now, which says something. The screen technology, the camera technology, all these things I love. You know, I really love a good screen. I love a good monitor. I love good camera technology. I love all of this stuff. But like, it's when they say to you, like, we're bringing people together, or like, you know, like you can share everything with the people most important to you. It's like the people most important to you probably would rather actually see you than have some bullshit
maybe
thing
that's-
shared to them.
It's
Like,
a,
you
again,
know,
it's
like-
a stepping stone because they want
Yeah,
everyone to
yeah.
be wearing that device. Then you can share things.
Yeah.
Then you can be
This
like, we're looking at each other.
Also,
But
I think it's
you
just
can see my eyes underneath there in the digital form, and kind of they look weird, and it's just
Yeah.
like not quite right, and it's
it's not necessarily a failure of the direction they're going. It's a failure that their marketing's no longer working.
Yeah,
I think that's the case.
They just need to accept that, like, of course, we want these systems or need some of these systems or technologies out there, but it's just be fucking honest with us, because like you're not. Like, we know what you're fucking
We can
doing.
see right
Like,
through
yeah.
the Apple bullshit now.
And the whole privacy thing, you know, like the loss of privacy through digital infrastructure that we've experienced over the last decade, of like us becoming less and less private as people. Everything we have is recorded and shared throughout an entire lifetime.
Yeah.
You know, like we've kind of let that happen partly because we understand that it's kind of part of using the products and part of using the services. You know, you're like, I want to use this service, I want to use this product, and I understand it comes with some caveats. You need to be aware of that, so you need to be honest with each other. You know, like, use social media too much,
Yeah.
it is going to rot your fucking brain, but it's also a useful way to share photos and
it
experiences with
is.
friends.
But,
You know,
like, they're not doing anything to stop the addiction.
Yeah,
Like,
No,
yeah,
no,
yeah.
they want you on there as much
it.
as possible. It's all
Yeah,
time
yeah.
based.
Yeah.
But like, the privacy thing is kind of what I think, but the speech thing, having to say,
Mm.
because like, if there are a group of people in the room and you're like, do this, do that, oh, send message, and then start to, I don't know, I don't like that element of it.
That you're projecting
You're
it.
announcing
Yeah,
things that
yeah.
you just do, and you
Yeah.
can tap it and it's done.
I mainly use my
There's a
voice
bit more of a
stuff.
discreet element to it.
But you can do both.
It feels very
Like,
American, doesn't it? To
it's a
yell out
hybrid
what you're
system.
doing.
Yeah. I mean,
It
I get
is,
where you're
but
coming
like
from.
some
All
people
my
can't
life-
physically do that.
Of course
So
not, yeah.
accessibility.
Yeah,
that's
accessibility is
important.
good.
I can, and I still like it. So I'm coming from like as in like
Yeah.
all my lights are rigged up to Google Home, so I can turn them on and off. Just like, say I'm going to bed and like
Yeah.
I've left all the living room lights on, I can just tell it to turn it off.
Sure.
That's an improvement. I
Yeah.
sometimes ask about the weather, and those are pretty much the two things I use it for. I don't
Okay.
do like
You
personal
don't do
messaging
like,
on it. Or
quickly
anything like
send
that.
message to
Yeah,
bro,
yeah,
hey bro,
yeah.
did
I
you
do it in
see
the car.
that?
You do it in the car, which makes sense
Yeah,
in the
yeah.
car. You know, that's a good
Hands
use
free,
case.
yeah, hands free.
Yeah.
But that's I just don't do it at home, I suppose, and it just feels like because when you've got the device on your head, you're supposed to say stuff to it and activate other things. That doesn't feel as natural to me.
No,
I don't know.
If I'm like in the middle of like getting ready to leave and I quickly want to know what is it raining right now, I'll do the voice thing because I'm like putting on a coat and putting on my shoes and stuff. It's like it's very quick to just ask the voice assistant, what's the weather like right now?
Yeah.
And like put on a coat, and it's not stopping me from like getting my phone out checking the weather. So there is like
I think maybe because I'm just I think Siri's just really shit because like
it's such
when
a
you have
shame.
have you had it where AirPods have read a message to you, right?
Yeah.
And like so sometimes more often than not the only reason is because I'm walking Murph or something, and I'll say something to Murph like come here or like or leave that or whatever, and it then says calling anything that sounded like what I just said. And it doesn't give you a fucking moment. It starts calling and it's like whoa, what the fuck, stop, and it's like you can't. And it's just the fact that system is so flawed still that they're just using it on everything. I just don't get why.
So my theory is, and you know how I said earlier about how it's a shame that they're firing people that are working on these systems because we want them to be better.
Yeah.
I think it's because they're preparing to just make AI do all of that.
That's what I was going to say.
Yeah, I think it's just because they can't be bothered. They're just going to go wait until an AI model fits onto a voice model they've got, and they just pump.
That's exactly what I think. Google Bard is going to replace Google Home.
Yeah.
And I think Apple's coming up with their own AI thing. They just aren't ready to announce it yet.
Yeah.
They wait for all the other companies to have their failings before Apple comes out with this is the one that you really wanted.
Yeah.
They always do that.
Yeah.
Where it's like, why haven't Apple come out with this yet?
Yeah.
They wait.
Although they have had some high-profile failures recently. As in, there's a couple of times where they've waited too long, or the thing that they've eventually delivered actually wasn't that much better than what other people are doing.
Well, their maps was awful.
Yeah,
It still
exactly.
is.
Exactly.
But to the point where it's so awful to the point where I won't even try it again because of how awful. And I think that's it's the same when games release and they're shit. That's such a huge stepping stone to like never playing that again or never trying that again. It's like, well, it was shit. Then I've lost interest.
Yeah.
There's another alternative. If there was no alternative to Apple Maps, I would use Apple Maps. But like the fact that you use one and it takes you in a completely different direction to the other, and it's longer, and it's like, why did it do that? It's better now. You use it now.
It is better now.
Okay.
But it has failed me a couple of times recently, actually saying that.
Oh, really?
But for the times that it has worked, it's worked just as well, if not better, than Google Maps, and it looks better too. For me.
But if it fails once, failing once is enough for you to just go back to the other thing that works all the time.
You got an alternative.
Google Maps is incredible in
Yeah.
comparison. But yeah, we can talk about that all day.
Well,
we have been here for an hour now.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
We really went ahead with it. Apologies for the extra awesome content there.
Just tech talk.
Huge thanks to all our supporters out there, like our patrons, who allow these things to keep going. You know, without you guys, we probably wouldn't be continuing to do a hat chat. So thank you.
Indeed, yeah, you do keep this hoisted up.
Indeed. You can support us in multiple ways, one being Patreon, one being YouTube members, and the other being Twitch as a subscriber. And they all get amalgamated onto our Discord, discord.gg/hatfilms. If you just link one of those accounts to Discord, you get access to the subscriber-only channels where you see all the extra videos and stuff that we put out for our people that support us. So thank you very much.
Yeah.
And hey, if you want to send us a fingal or some questions to ask a scientist,
yes,
a doctor in science.
Remember the aerosol question, because we can ask him that.
Aerosol's important.
And also the other
What, can you transfer data through aerosol?
Could you think of a way to transfer data?
He's got the problem, he needs to solve it.
Okay, right.
But yeah, if you've got questions like that for our resident Dr. Simon Clark, please email hatchat@hat-films.com. We love some wacky ideas to really throw them off.
Just one final thought. I think I've realised why I really like Google Home and voice assistants, because I'm a massive sci-fi nerd, and the captains and all that, you know, they would always talk to the computer, wouldn't they?
They would
talk to it like Star Trek and stuff.
Yeah,
Maybe that. I think that's part of it.
Those are
I think I'm like, I want to use it
you're
because
indulging
it's
sci-fi,
cool.
yeah.
Almost. Yeah,
But it's the full recognition of what you say. It goes wrong so often for me that I
Yeah.
just lost faith.
It's just because you're
But ChatGPT
just very
doesn't.
clearly.
ChatGPT is really good.
That's
the thing. I've tried speaking to
It
that,
is
and it's
good.
so good that it's just like, why aren't they using that? Because that's incredible.
They will.
Yeah.
They will.
And
But
they've got
very
Scarlett
clean-
Johansson to do the voice, which is pretty cool.
Who?
No, they haven't really. It sounds like
Nice,
it
nice.
sounds like her though. But
Just hey Siri, order me
Whoa, hang on.
Pitbull XL dick pills.
Oh no.
There you
Jesus.
Right.
go.
So I hope you're listening in the car, or maybe
By now.
you're listening in a car or out loud at home. Good luck with that.
Yeah, nobody's using Siri.
No,
We're fine.
it's-
We're fine. Thanks, everybody. See you later.
Thank you. See you next week.
Bye.
Have a good
Bye.
week. Enjoy Perth. Thanks, Perth.